All right, everybody, welcome to Tuesday night. It is time once again for the Wrestle Talk podcast. That's right, and we got one heck of a show lined up for you here, and we're excited to get going. You know, it's the Wrestle Talk podcast has had an exciting weekend. We took this weekend and we went to Celeb Fest 2 out in Baltimore. We had a good time out there, met some of the fans and stuff, and, you know, it was a real good time. But let's go ahead and kick this thing off the way that we always do here with our Wrestle Talk podcast intro.
Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
All right, everybody. Well, the Night Owl is going to join us here. He's been having a couple issues. Let's see if he's got everything worked out. So let's go ahead and bring him in here. He is the one, the only, the Night Owl.
¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? Loyal members of the Wrestle Talk family.
Night Owl, how the heck are you doing tonight?
Dude, I am doing fantastic, stupendous, supercalifragilistic. I'm gonna get that.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I think you messed it up too, but yeah, yours was closer. Good evening, fellow members of the Wrestle Talk family. A day after the 18-year anniversary of one of my favorite wrestlers passing away, Road Warrior Hawk. We're here for episode 367. Shout out to our friends over at the Cauliflower Alley Club that posted that it's been 18 years. Bro, I thought it was relative considering that we're interviewing not one, but 2 tag teams tonight.
You know, it really doesn't seem like it's been 18 years since we've seen those guys in the ring. You know, it just seems like it was, just a few years ago. It's hard to believe it has been so long since they've been a tag team together, and so long since he's been gone. So,
yeah, no doubt about it. And for people giving me heat, Night Owl, this is a pro wrestling podcast. What the hell are you doing with a basketball jersey on? Well, guess what? Today's a bit of a holiday for me because not only do I get to do the Wrestle Talk podcast, but also tonight is the official beginning of the NBA season. Let me declare that in the Eastern Conference, I'm a Miami Heat guy. In the Western Conference, I'm a Los Angeles Lakers guy. And hopefully my 2 teams get to meet up in the finals once again, like we saw a couple of years ago. Love to hear if there are any wrestling fans that are also NBA fans. I don't think there's a lot of crossover there like there is with football and wrestling. You got a lot of wrestling fans that love football, and you got a lot of football fans that love wrestling. I'm not sure if that's the case with NBA basketball. But yeah, exciting day for me, Hoss. Very happy to be here for 267. Why don't we do what we always do about this time? Because we got to pay homage, baby.
That's right.
Back here. Let's go ahead and cue up that music, ladies and gentlemen, and ask the Wrestle Talk family to remove your caps as we respectfully pay homage to the greatest country on God's green earth, and that's America, damn it.
Yeah, every time. I tell you.
every single time. Shout out to my man Frex, representing Talking Dynasty and the I-70 sports media conglomerate. Okay, I see some Atlanta Hawks fans in here. We got some Sixers fans, some Bulls fans, Lakers fans, of course. That's to be expected. A lot of NBA talk early on today. Well, John, we're going to get into a whole lot of conversation about what's going on in the world of pro wrestling. But before we go there, we do have to give a tremendous shout out to our sponsors. If you would mind helping me out with the ticker, my friend, so that the listeners of the show can follow along with me. Before we kick off the rest of episode 367, which, by the way, is going to be particularly interesting. We've got a young tag team and an old school tag team. And if you know me at all, or have ever listened to the show, you know what an affinity I have for tag team wrestling. But in terms of the sponsors, I want to go ahead and start off with the aforementioned I-70 Sports Media, the Maestro Jeremy Carb, covering all your Midwest sports needs, including professional wrestling. That's why we love them. Also, big shout out to the creators of the Wrestle Talk podcast mug. We can get you a mug with your name on it for $20 plus shipping, courtesy at Rathbum Engraving. Everything Combat, shout out to those guys, Pat Milicic and Jake Hollywood. Just had a huge event in Davenport, Iowa called Caged Aggression. Check out our boy Jeff Wilson, UFC Hall of Famer Pat Milicic. They always take care of us. We always try to take care of them. Of course, our beautiful website created by Perry Hartman and the fine folks over at Painter's Dream Production. Royal Mills Transportation. If you happen to be in the greater Kansas City area, please look up our friends over at Royal Mills Transportation for all your local needs, professional, courteous, and kind. Everything Combat, mentioned them already. Kincaid Arcade, the former home of our watch parties. Or I should say, Kincaid, the current home of our watch parties. Esports Bar KC, the former home of our watch parties. And, of course, the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion, the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter. More information on them, the world's greatest eFed, over at WrestleTalkPodcast.com/fantasy wrestling. That's WrestleTalkPodcast.com/fantasy wrestling. Now, I know we are just moments from getting into the high spot segment, but before we go any further, Hardcore Hoss, in just a few words, can you sum up Celeb Fest 2? Because we're going to get into that and a lot more. But just right off the top of your head, give me a couple of words to describe it.
Oh, it was absolutely awesome. I mentioned that before you came on that, we had a big weekend where we went out to Celeb Fest 2, myself and Nightmare Jones, and met a lot of fans and turned on a few new people to the Wrestle Talk podcast. And it was just an awesome event. And, I was excited to be there and excited to meet the people. And awesome is the only word I can really use to describe it.
We're going to talk about that in a little more. And also, if you guys tune in, we are going to break some news concerning Celeb Fest 3 right at the end of the High Spot segment. So make sure you guys keep it locked in. Make sure you guys share the broadcast. And if you guys feel encouraged to do so and you feel like you got the gusto, join us. Drop a message. We'll send you the link, and you can come on to the Wrestle Talk podcast during the High Spot segment with us. And if you're a great caller, it's particularly encouraged by any new callers that would join us to the show. You get to choose between, and I've been trying to give this away for about 2 weeks now. I have a Honking Talk Man action figure, and I have a Wrestle Talk podcast mug. So if you want to call in and you're new to the show, you got a strong take, you want to join us, if you can do that and you kill the game, then you can walk away with a prize, 100% courtesy of your friends right here at the WTP. How's that sound, Hoss?
I keep telling you that if nobody else wants them, I will be glad to take them, but you keep telling me I can't win.
So. No, my friend. All right, well, we do have the High Spot segment where we talk all things professional wrestling. You know what to do. We got DJ Money with the custom track for the High Spot segment. Hardcore Hoss, you know what to do, baby. Hit it.
Mic check, mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like fair chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like a runner speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. On the spark flash, feel like a belly flop. Now that's on. We up the speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
All right, man. I'm loving all the NBA takes right now, bro. I did not expect it. We might need to start another podcast, baby. Make it all about basketball. But anyway, this ain't that show, baby. We're here to talk about professional wrestling. And you know what? There is so much to discuss. I'm going to let my man Double H, Hardcore Hoss, lead us off on this topic during tonight's edition of the High Spot segment. What do you got for us, bro?
Well, it was actually brought to my attention earlier today that let me pull it up here. Mustafa Ali has decided that he is going to donate his earnings from WWE Crown Jewel to charity. So, I thought that was a very neat thing for him to do, is to just donate all his earnings from that event to charity. What's your take on that, Night Owl?
Well, all I can say to you, bro, is that giving back has always been at the heart of sports. We've seen it with the many affiliations and charities that professional athletes are typically affiliated with. Mustafa Ali, I'm not exactly sure what charity he's associating himself with, but anything that involves giving back, I think, is always a beautiful thing. Not only is it relative, because you always want to give back to the fans and to the community of professional wrestling, but bro, Mustafa Ali has been on fire with this story with Mansoor, and I think that it may potentially be a show-stealing type match during Crown Jewel, considering they both have a Middle Eastern background. And Mansoor, as a matter of fact, is actually from Saudi Arabia. So this just adds a little bit of salsa to the tacos for me. I like what they've been doing in the build-up. They were a tag team. Mustafa Ali has been antagonizing Mansoor. Mansoor finally snapped on Monday, and I think we're going to have a hell of a match on Thursday. But yeah, obviously, bro, the fact that he's taken, let's just say, his game check and donating it to charity, I think that's always good for business. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's always good, and when people can do that, it's just an awesome thing. I don't know what other word to use, but when they can just take a whole check and just say, "Here you go, take it," yeah, I applaud them for doing that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty damn interesting. Well, let me jump into something else. And by the way, guys, you're more than willing or more than welcome to join us. Just shoot us a message, and we will bring you on, and you can discuss whatever you want to talk about in the world of pro wrestling. What I wanted to talk about, and this isn't something that I do too much, but I want to talk about that's something that's been circulating around the rumor mill quite a bit recently, Hoss, and that, of course, are the rumors of the potential return of Bray Wyatt. I heard maybe Bound for Glory. I heard maybe AEW. I even heard that he's quite content working out on a farm and raising his family because he's made quite a bit of money in his 10 or so year run with the WWE. I think it was close to 10 years. That's how quickly time flies. But most recently, there was a report from our friends over at Ringside News talking about the fact that whether he goes to AEW or Bound for Glory, which is an Impact show, that the name that he's going to operate under has already been decided, and that name is the name of Wyndham Hoss, which I know is a name that you're very familiar with, being a bit of an old school fan. If that is indeed what he goes with, what do you think about him rolling with the name Wyndham.
Well, it does show some homage to like Barry Windham and people. So that's an interesting idea. I've even heard rumors that he may be returning to WWE. They've got him going all over the place, so it's hard to tell where he's going to show up. But I have also heard the rumor, like you said, that he's content there on the farm. That he's even said if he doesn't go WWE, he goes nowhere. So who knows what's really true anymore? Yeah, it's hard to tell where he's going to show up, and I just hope he does show up somewhere, and look forwards to seeing him in the ring again.
Same here. I think the guy has a lot left. He's got a lot left in the old knees, so to speak. He's got a lot of miles left on the body. I know that the WWE schedule can be strenuous, but over the last 2 to 2.5 years, we haven't really seen him wrestle on a week in, week out basis. It was always kind of like here or there, they would sprinkle him in, and a lot of it was character-based stuff, promos, vignettes, and things like that. So maybe he's still got the tread to give us maybe what we haven't seen yet, which is him peaking. I think he's peaked from a character perspective, Hawes, but I'm not sure he's necessarily peaked from an in-ring worker perspective. Hopefully someone will pick him up and we get an opportunity to see him do that before it's too late.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I would love to see him get picked up by somebody, get him back in the ring, get him working. He's always interesting to watch, and he's really got a lot of talent. So I think whoever gets him is really going to get somebody worth their money to perform for him, and I think it's going to draw fans to wherever he goes.
Well, you're absolutely right. And just to remind people who don't know, Bray Wyatt actually comes from a lineage of wrestling greats going back to Barry Windham, which, yes, Windham is his first name on a shoot. And then his father was Mike Rotunda, a.k.a. the IRS. So clearly, I think the fans still have plenty of appetite for Bray Wyatt. It's about trying to figure out how to bring him back, where he fits in. And I wonder if we may see a return to the old swamp gimmick that we got with the initial Bray Wyatt run versus this Fiend. I think there's definitely room for both. We can see Aleister Black pulling off a Fiend-type feel with what he's doing with his character in AEW, and the fans seem to love it. So like I said, I think there's still definitely an appetite for whether it be Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, Wyndham, Husky Harris, damn it. I don't think anybody really cares what he calls himself as long as he's out there doing what he does best, and that's entertaining the fans. And I will agree with our man, Sonny Money Mayo. I do think his in-ring abilities are a bit underrated, but I still believe that he hasn't peaked from an in-ring perspective. He's just maybe not been given the platform. I think when he went against Cena for a while there, that was pretty spectacular. His rivalry with The Undertaker was a little short-lived, maybe underperformed a little bit, but I hate to see guys that talented never really hit their stride, both from a character perspective and in-ring perspective. Hopefully we get to see that again in the very near future. What else you got for us, also? What other High Spots topics did you want to bring to the table?
Well, I thought I would give a quick update. A couple weeks ago, it was actually found out that a member of the Wrestle Talk family, Kevin Mears, had dislocated his shoulder, and he would be out of ring action for a while. And I have been in contact with Kevin and talked to him, and he is rehabbing his shoulder, and he doesn't have full range of motion back yet, so it'll still be a while before he gets in the ring, but he's doing good, and just sends his love to everybody.
Well, all love back from the Wrestle Talk family to Triple Fears. Kevin Mears, one of our favorite guys, not just in the ring, but we love interviewing him. He's obviously now a member of the Wrestle Talk family. So thoughts, prayers, good juju, whatever it is that you guys believe in, we send that his way. And we mean it, because we want to have him not only back on the show, but obviously back in the ring performing and doing what he loves. Now, on that note, I actually have a bit of a story to share, something that's relatively fresh and hot off the presses. Are you familiar with Ace Austin by any chance, Hoss? If not, that's okay.
Yes, I am. He was the X Division champion in Impact. I actually got an opportunity to meet him and get a picture with him at a WDWA show when he took on Shane Malice one night.
Wow, dude. Okay, awesome. So I obviously love Ace Austin as well. I got an opportunity to see him wrestle at Wrestling Revolver last year, Sammy Callahan's promotion up in Iowa. I wanted to let everybody know that him and his girlfriend or wife, not really sure, Georgia Lee, have started a GoFundMe, because just yesterday morning at 9:30 a.m., their apartment, they live on the second floor of an apartment complex in Georgia. I'm sorry. Not in Georgia. I got that location wrong. But nevertheless, their apartment caught on fire. They're okay. Their cat's okay, but they pretty much lost everything. Fortunately, they were just a couple of seconds from getting caught in the fire. So we've already seen superstars like Chris Jericho, the Young Bucks, D'Lo Brown, the Impact Women's Champion Deanna Purrazzo, and the list goes on, that have donated to help them kind of recover from this tragic loss. The original goal was $5,000. They've already raised close to $15,000. So if you can't donate, that's fine. But again, send the love, the prayers, the positive vibes, the juju to Ace Austin and to Georgia Lee, so that hopefully they can bounce back very quickly from this very unfortunate incident where they lost a lot of their personal effects. But thankfully, Double H, everybody is fine. Physically, they're okay. And, physical things can be replaced. It's people and memories and time that we only have one shot at. So fortunately, both of them are okay. And they live to fight on, which is what wrestlers do, right? That's really basically what it comes down to it, man. You get knocked down, get back up again. This is a tough one, but I think the pro wrestling community has once again shown its strength, shown its unity in supporting these guys in their moment of need. So very, very sad news, but also encouraging to see how much support they've gotten. I know we have a few minutes left before our first featured guest of the evening. Hoss, what else you got for us on High Spots tonight?
Well, I just noticed earlier that Tony Khan has announced that Daniel Garcia has signed a full-time deal with AEW now.
Oh, it's official.
Yes, it is official.
That is very, very, very good, my friend. And let me tell you why it's good. The more legitimate badasses that they bring in, the better, not only for AEW, but for the sport. We've seen it dating back to the Dan Severn, Ken Shamrock days. Bobby Lashley, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar. The list goes on and on. Haku, Goldberg, guys that are legit badasses in the sport is always a good thing. And let me tell you, when you're talking about badasses, I have not been as impressed off the bat as I am with America's Top Team. Dan Lambert, Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, Jorge Masvidal, and the rest of the boys on America's Top Team, A, could legitimately kick most everyone's asses, and B, seem to be really invested in AEW and in the sport. And so, the Ronda Rousey effect is what I'm going to call it here, continues to be prevalent throughout the pro wrestling world. These MMA guys are legit badasses, and they're transitioning over into wrestling and being very successful. And as long as you have some semblance of a personality, see Matt Riddle, you can do very well for yourself. Another guy that's got a lot of MMA, Muay Thai, and martial arts in his background. So the way I look at it, John, is Danny Garcia, America's Top Team, Ronda Rousey, the original Bro, all these people are a great infusion of legitimate badass talent into the sport, and only good things can come from it.
I agree 100%. And I look forward to seeing what he does, once he actually gets out there on AEW. So I look forward to it.
No doubt about it. Well, there's one other thing that I wanted to bring up here during the High Spot segment. And again, guys, we still do have a few minutes. So if you want to join us before our first featured guest of the evening, you're more than welcome to do that. We got plenty of room. Just send us a message on any one of our social media platforms. I'll have my man Hardcore Hoss send you a link, and then we will go ahead and bring you on. Now, my announcement is a little local, but it went national, and I'm going to actually share the screen with you guys because I get called a liar. Some people are like, where'd you find that, bro? Shoot me a link. Are you just making that up, dude? No, I'm not. And the story that I'm getting ready to share with you guys isn't from some local newspaper. No, this is from Yahoo Finance. This is finance.yahoo.com. And as I share this news with you, just know that I'm also congratulating these people for their accomplishment. And how about we stop with the mystery and I go ahead and show you guys what I'm talking about. If you guys wouldn't mind taking a quick look at the shared screen. Yes, the new Galaxy S20. No, that's not what it's. Here it is. StreamNet TV Sports Network announces world-class MMA, boxing, and wrestling entertainment. So, just this morning, it was announced that our friends over at World Class, that's right, the boss, Jerry Bostic, and the gang, have signed a deal with StreamNet TV, not only for wrestling, but also for boxing and MMA, meaning that we've got another legitimate wrestling promotion in the fold. Allow me to read this, my friends. It says, Las Vegas, Nevada, October 19th, StreamNet Inc. today announced that StreamNet TV Sports Network featuring world-class MMA, world-class boxing, and world-class wrestling entertainment, CEO Daryl Payne says, I am thrilled knowing that we should become the first company in the world to offer boxing, wrestling entertainment, MMA, plus the performance of a popular urban rap recording artist. Not really sure about that. We'll dig a little bit deeper. Over 40 events have been scheduled starting in 2022, combining all 4 action-packed popular events in one night in a historical event for subscribers and live attendees. We intend to become one of the most active promoters of sports events in the United States. And just look at this freaking poster, bro. Legit star after legit star. I mean, you're looking at it. I don't have to name the names, but I will. Here's Jerry Bostic. Here's Kevin Sullivan. Here's Carlito. Here's Fuego de Sol. Here's Gideon Bain, who I got an opportunity to work with a couple of months ago at the KWA/AIWF show for our friends over at the Kansas Wrestling Alliance. So as you guys can see, Jerry Bostic has been named president and the lead promoter for StreamNet TV Sports Network. Long story short, Hardcore Hoss, what I want to say is bravo. Bravo to these promotions who survived the pandemic, are now reaching for the proverbial brass ring. There is so much good wrestling going on outside of the major promotions. They just need an opportunity to be seen, and that's exactly what we're seeing with World Class. The conversation we had where we're a part of with Court Bauer about the expansion of MLW being on Vice, which, by the way, I started watching. What's it called? Fightland. That event is spectacular up to this point. And then the other part of it is that, bro, they're going international. So you're not only talking about World Class doing wrestling, boxing, and MMA. You're talking MLW that's going to be going outside of the United States. So no longer are the days of there being 1 or 2 places to work. Great young talents like No Role Modelz, OGs like the Lumberjacks are going to have more of an opportunity to be seen because of these business dealings. Hardcore Hoss, is this good, bad, or indifferent for the sport of pro wrestling? I can't see anything negative to tie to it, but I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't see a downside to it either. I mean, anything that gets the names out there for some of these people who aren't in AEW or WWE, these guys need to be recognized too. And anything that gets their name out there, I see as a positive. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to look into, seeing how to stream it and everything. And I look forward to seeing it.
No doubt about it. And let me tell you guys something exciting. We're already in the works of getting the boss, Jerry Bostic, back on the show for the third time to talk to us about this tremendous deal. Maybe he can give us a sneak peek of what we might be seeing in 2022. But just know, for everybody out there, the Wrestle Talk podcast is a platform for you to come on and share a little bit more about what you got going on. Get it out to the masses, particularly here in the Midwest and the upper Northeast where you are, Hardcore Hoss. We love giving people the opportunity to project themselves forward. War Class has done it. MLW has done it. Countless guests, including legends that have come on the show, have done it. And hopefully we'll do the exact same thing tonight with two amazing guests that we got scheduled. How do you feel about that, John?
Oh, I am excited. And, I see our first guests are sitting backstage ready to go and just excited to get into the interviews and everything. So what do you say we go ahead and get into it, Night Owl?
Let's do it, baby. It is my pleasure, as it should be yours, to welcome in these first-time guests to the Wrestle Talk podcast. Yeah, they're representing the Lou, baby. They know how to get down, baby. You already know. They're hailing from the Lou. They represent big time. Their mentors, Mike Outlaw, Camaro Jackson, are longtime friends and members of the Wrestle Talk family. Now they're starting to monkey foot the game, like with Timberlands in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? These guys are really putting it down. They're not playing around Pizza Hut style. They're not playing Papa John's. They're bringing emos to the front and center, baby. They're making sure that you know who they are. And the reason that they're here today is because they're tired of sitting behind other tag teams in the Midwest. These boys are already fighting at Dynamo Pro Wrestling. Okay, they're already working with my boy KLD. All right, and they're ready to expand the enterprise. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in for the very first time here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, a guy that your mom is probably not going to like too much, but your sister's going to dig these guys. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in No Role Modelz.
What's going on?
Bang. What up, gentlemen? Good to see you guys. How was that intro? Did I do all right?
Yeah, you perfect.
You guys pushing their shoulders off like ATM, Eli, welcome to the show, gentlemen. A pleasure to have you both here. Right off the jump, man. Let me get started with getting to know you guys, maybe outside the ring a little bit, and then we'll move on to the in-ring stuff. Give me the top one or two songs on your Spotify playlist right now, and we'll go ahead and start with you, Eli. What are you listening to right now, my guy?
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually funny. Had I be using Spotify, I'm an Apple guy. But,
okay. Well, yeah, that's good too.
My music's a little all over the place. I have my hip hop days, I have my rock days, I have my R&B days. Right now, I went down a Tony Braxton rabbit hole the other day, so I've been listening to a lot of Tony Braxton. But other than that, been keeping up with
wait. Unbreak my heart.
Yeah,
you love me. Okay, enough. People are not paying.
No, you good. Young Thug recently dropped the album last Friday. I've been playing that a little nonstop. We've been playing that at my other job. But yeah,
that's good to hear. ATM, show me the money, baby. What are you bumping these days?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I got Way Too Sexy on repeat, man. I listen to this song every day when I wake up, hit the shower. It's Way Too Sexy, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, my man's got swag on full effect from the moment that he wakes up. That's nice. You got a variety Do you listen to other genres of music? I don't know. Deep down inside, I think you might be into a little Tim McGraw, maybe a little bit. You listen to any of that?
So I'm really a big hip hop rap guy, and also like just playing like the WWE games growing up, like a little bit of heavy metal and stuff like that. Like for me, I can listen to any song as long as it sounds good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm not picky. Like if it sounds good, it's okay with me.
Facts.
All right, have you guys heard the new J. Cole and Joyner that just dropped? Have y'all heard the new one? This
Not yet, but I'm a huge J. Cole fan, so I'm
on
going to check that out.
Ooh, and especially if y'all are playboys and all that, which I mean, y'all might be a little bit of that. So if y'all, that might be it. Yeah, yo, peep that one. It is a banger. All right. So moving on from music, let's move on to games. ATM, you brought it up. We'll start with you. Talk to me about some of the video games that were influential to you growing up. Were you a Mario guy? Were you strictly wrestling, Madden? What did you like to get into when you were younger? And maybe even now?
So, my first console that I can remember having was a Nintendo 64. And I used to play Mario Party all day, Pokemon Stadium, WF No Mercy, like that was my childhood. Yeah. And then now I'm a big first-person shooter guy, fighting game guy. Like I play a lot of Mortal Kombat, Call of Duty, still keep up with wrestling, but those are my main genre of video games that I play right now.
Bro, are you excited that we're finally getting a new WWE game? Because last year we got nada. It was hard for us.
It was hard, because like, man, see, I'm excited, but I'm not excited because after all the releases, I'm thinking to myself, is this roster going to be good? Because they released a lot of good names.
I mean, they're dropping it next year. Might as well call it 2023 because next year's going to be 2022.
That's a good point. Yo, it's got more build up than the TBS championship, bro. It's gonna be forever. What about you, Eli? What are you playing nowadays? What were some of the games that you used to get into early on, man?
Oh man, Sonic first and foremost, man. I remember having Sonic on the GameCube, having the Sonic games on the Game Boy Advance and stuff like that. Earliest system I can remember having was a Sega Genesis. So I can go on for days about how many classics on Sega Genesis.
RoboCop, hell yeah,
man, Comic Zone. But right now, games I'm playing right now, I'm more into like my story games and my choice based games. Those games that kind of like have like shift the game as you play it and like gives you like a different ending. So right now, I'm really big on Mass Effect. For real ones know about Mass Effect. Real ones know how stressful but so good Mass Effect is. But that one and Life is Strange. Not many people know about Life is Strange. That's another choice-based game. If y'all ever looking for something different to play, it's something you can just veg out to and just like explore and like pick those different choices. Check out Life is Strange for sure.
Dope. Now, either of you guys get into any Red Dead Redemption?
Oh my God!
I had to ask. Sorry.
so many.
That's
hours.
A personal favorite.
So many lost hours.
Yeah,
man. Me and my brother, when we first got the game, we couldn't stay off of it. That was the new GTA Online for us. We couldn't stay off of it. We were just on it, hitting raids, catching Mounties, everything on there.
And they're still adding to the online experience, man. I can't get enough of it still. All right, so before I throw it over to my man John, I got a couple of things that I want to throw out there. We're going to play a little bit of a word association, and it's pertaining to promotions. Right. So we'll go back and forth. We'll start with you, ATM, and then we'll jump over to Eli. I'm going to say it, and you give me the word that comes to your mind first, and we'll go back and forth. Are you guys good with that?
Yeah.
All right, we'll start with you, ATM. First promotion. Dynamo Pro Wrestling.
Great.
All right, Eli. Glory Pro Wrestling.
Phenomenal.
ATM. ATM. WrestleMax STL.
See, I feel like this is creating a divide in the promotions that we're with everybody
love. I'm giving y'all an opportunity to give everybody love. Just stay with me now.
Yeah.
Same, excellent,
All right, and last but not least, CCW.
a great. You made me lose my word, man.
One word.
You made me lose my word.
One word.
So I can't think of the word that correlates with like change of scenery, I guess.
Yeah, Cape is definitely different than St. Louis, that's for sure.
Nah, like it's always a good trip going down there. Like every time, once we hit the end of the month and we know we got to shoot down to Cape Girardeau, we already know what the deal is. We know that weekend is nothing planned. We hitting 55 and straight down.
Straight out. Shout out to Jason Wells, Brandon Barbwire, and of course the illustrious Marco Stunt. Now in the one of the executives' offices over with our fine friends at CCW. I got a bunch more questions for you fellas. I happen to be a big fan of yours from when you guys first started training. You may not have known who I was, but I definitely know who you guys are. So I'm going to let my man, a hardcore Hoss, jump in here. He's actually over in West Virginia and already knows about No Role Modelz. So the name is spreading very, very quickly. And you guys coming on here, hopefully that'll continue to move that that momentum forward. Hardcore Hoss, what do you got for No Role Modelz?
I love talking to people from across the country and everything, getting to know more about them. And one thing we always encourage our fans, if they have any questions, feel free to throw them out there. And so we actually have one question from a fan here. Sonny Mayo wants to know, what's your favorite finisher from a tag team?
Not including their own?
I was just going to say
that's a tough question.
I was just going to say that because,
So
personally,
for me, as it's called in the video games.
Okay.
So for me, this is what's called in the WWE video games, but the extreme combination, the Hardy Boys, Twist of Fate, and Jeff Hardy hits the Swanton Bomb. That right there, it's just the Hardy Boys working together. In my opinion, that's my favorite tag team finisher.
Very nice. What about you, Eli?
That's a tough one to beat. It's something about 3D'ing somebody through a table that just hit me right in the childhood, man. Dude. But side note, not an official tag team move, but when Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns tagged a few years ago, and Wyatt hit the Sister Abigail, and he literally just pointed like the shot out, and then Roman hit the spear. That was like the smoothest thing I ever seen on like the modern WWE product. But yeah, it's not being 3D though. It's not being 3D.
Great questions there from the listeners and the family in the audience there. What else you got, Hardcore Hoss?
Well, I was looking back through some Facebook and Twitter type stuff, and I noticed that back around September 25th and October 1st, you had two title defenses in about a week's time. One against Dangerous Delicious and the other one against Young Goats. How do you prepare for defending your titles in such a short span of time?
You want to answer this one?
Yes. So actually, it was a different change of pace because the pressure comes with being champions. So we had to turn everything up a notch. We had to turn up our training regimen a notch. Had to start just zoning in a little bit more because now that the target is on our backs, as they like to say. But we did get thrown a curveball because we went in. I think we were going to have a title defense and ended up being me in a triple threat, which ended up with one of our Dangerous and Delicious guys not being medically cleared to compete. So they just switched pulled a switcheroo and threw me in a triple threat match, which was pretty good. Came out on top. But then we just shifted focus right back to our next title defense against the Young Goats at WrestleMax, which was not an easy task. And them boys got our nod for sure. Anytime they want to run it back, we can do that.
And it was also such an honor for us because we are leading the tag team division at Cape Girardeau right now, and so to defend the titles not in Cape, but at WrestleMax, that was a huge honor for us.
Well, the way that I look at it is you guys are one of many tremendous young tag teams coming out of St. Louis. And the fact that you're having to be in such high-profile matches back-to-back says something about what you guys are doing, because the promoters aren't going to put you in that position unless they believe in you. So that's a real great question, John. That was good.
All right. And another question I had looking through everything, I saw on ATM's Twitter account where he had a post where he was talking about he knew that he wanted to be a wrestler from the age of 4, and that he's been doing it since 2019. So obviously it took a lot of hard work and a lot of determination to actually achieve the dream. So what would you tell your younger self about how to achieve your dream if you could talk to your younger self?
I would tell my younger self is to block out what other people have to say about what you want to do. Because growing up, you know, yeah, there are people that were fans of wrestling, but then there are also the other people like, oh, you know, wrestling's fake. Like, why would you want to do this? You know, and you know, before I actually made my choice to transition, I always felt like, well, if I did wrestling, people would judge me in type of way, you know. But then I finally tell myself, you know, I don't care what people say if they judge me, because this is what I want to do. I would have to tell my younger self that no matter what anybody tells you, you can do it and you can make it work.
Damn right. Awesome words of encouragement, man. I love to hear that. I'm getting teared up over here. But that's a beautiful thing, man, because we rarely get the opportunity to reflect back. And you guys are still pretty early on in your careers, which is what I find impressive. And what's exciting for me is that there are a lot of other great young tag teams that are like kind of climbing the ladder along with you guys. And there's one tag team in particular that I got to ask you guys about. You may have heard of them. Maybe you have not. Actually, there's more than one. So first, let me start off with Moses and Raheem de la Suerte. You guys are familiar with these two young men. We're big fans of them as well. So why don't you guys tell us how you feel about those gentlemen?
You want to take this one?
Ooh, we're about to experience technical difficulties. Okay. All right. So early on in in our tag team career, I feel like Moses and Raheem were the first tag team that No Role Modelz actually faced, I believe. And, you know, from there, it's just been like the rivalry between us, you know. And honestly, like, they're probably my favorite opponents to face. The chemistry that we have is there, you know. And, it's, you know, as you guys know, we all of us are a part of Team Ambition. So, you know.
Shout out to Team Ambition. Tootie. Tootie killing the game, by the way. Jeez Louise, Tootie is killing the game.
Sure.
Yeah.
But just to grow with them as being like the two upcoming tag teams, it's a real honor on both of our sides, you know. Like,
absolutely,
it's amazing to work with them, you know.
It's literally
it's like
the epitome of that iron sharpens iron kind of thing, you know.
Well, I guess here's a question for you guys, since you have that relationship with them. Would there be a possibility in the future of a No Role Modelz versus Alpha Omega match? Because that happens.
Go ahead.
And let me tell y'all something y'all don't know. Y'all may not know this. So early on, this was a few years ago, I had the privilege of helping book a couple of shows here in Kansas City, and a lot of great young talent, but I played a part. I won't take all the credit, but I played a part in getting Alpha Omega their first championships. Now that promotion folded. It's no longer around. It was unfortunate, but even back then I saw it. And now with the ascension of Camaro, Kenny Alfonso's having matches with Jeremy Wyatt. These guys are killing the game. So they've gotten that much better since then. How excited would you guys for an opportunity to face Alpha Omega sometime in the near future? And I know that's fam, but I know y'all still know you want to measure yourself against the best, and Alpha Omega are a couple of the best.
You see, man, I've been bothering Camaro Jackson for the longest about him and Will getting back together. So
They need to get back together.
I mean, for us, it will be like a, because when I started, I was at the Black Wrestling Matter, the first show, and I saw them tag against Technical
Shout out to John West.
Like those two as a team, like they kill it. They kill it. You know what I'm saying? And when we came a team, they were off doing that single stuff. Hopefully they can get back together. Face your boys, no role models.
Yes, even if it's just a one-off. Because let's be honest here, right? We're talking about the business, so let's talk business. Camaro Jackson as an individual, no shade on Kenny. Kenny's fantastic, but Camaro Jackson as an individual has a very high ceiling. So I can understand why maybe there's a little bit of at least a pause on the tag stuff, because Camaro as an individual is so outstanding. And at this point, I think people are looking to book him as a single. And so you got to ride with that. You know what I'm saying? And I respect it because, I mean, they call the guy the quad father for a reason. He's got the look. He's got the charisma. That man, I swear, I walked by him one time. I didn't know if I was like in the forest looking at a bunch of oaks or if it was just a regular man that I was looking at. The dude is a beast. And from what I hear, his training is second to none. So that leads me to my next question. You've been training with him. You've been training with the illustrious, the Midwest legend, Mike Outlaw. I'm sure there have been some highs and some lows. Talk to us a little bit about that, man. Are they putting you guys to the ringer, trying to bring you guys up to par to where they're at? Has there been challenges throughout the learning process working with those guys?
Oh, absolutely. It's challenges going through that process. And it's kind of like with anything. If you really dedicated about something, and if you really want it, then you will do any and everything to make it happen. And especially Camaro being a husband and a father outside of wrestling, and working jobs to provide for his family, provide, make his career happen. Like that right there was already my okay, there's no excuse, because he got 3-4 mouths to feed. So what are you doing sitting on your hands and just letting days go by, not making any progression? So it's literally that make or break. And that's one thing that him and Outlaw really instilled in us, is it's either going to make you or it's going to break you. So whether any opportunity, any chance, anything in wrestling, whether the ups and the downs, it's either going to make you or break you. So it's up to you to just persevere and get to that next level, because the results will show. Just got to do it.
No doubt about it. And there's a reason you guys are here, because the results are already showing pretty early on in your guys' career. So just because I know people like to tune into the show to find out about newer talent, let's go backwards a little bit. The names, the tag team name, where did Eli Rossi, ATM, and No Role Modelz, where did that originate? Were you guys just kicking and playing games, throwing back and forth ideas? Did somebody bestow the name on you guys? Talk with us through that creative process for both your individual names and also your tag team name, if you don't mind.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So the ATM name is it came from a lot of things. So it's the initials, and I changed the initials to mean all that matters. But the real initials of ATM is my name, and my name's Andrew McCaster, and then the T is my brother's middle name, actually. That's where the Terrell comes from. That's the T. And so I hold that name as A is my name given to me by my mother. The T represents my brother, and then McCaster is my last name, represents the last name that my mother gave me. So whenever I wrestle, that's what the All That Matters format comes from, because that's what all that matters to me. And so when I initially got the name, when I was younger, one of my friends of mine, he he was a rapper and he wanted me to do stuff with him. I just saw it as a hobby. So he's like, well, you need a rapper name. I'm, well, what's a rapper name? And it just popped in my head, ATM. But when I transitioned into wrestling, I made it mean even more to me now than it did back then.
Well, and before you jump in, Eli, I want to say this. When I heard your name, bro, something really positive popped into my head. I was like, 3 letters. You know what came to my head? ACH. And I said, that's when I'm as a matter of fact, I'm sure y'all are fans of his. So I'm going to see if I still have it here. I do. You guys are ACH fans, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, so let me show you guys something. Oh, no, I don't have it. My wife must have put it away. I was at a St. Louis Anarchy show, and ACH was fighting, I think, Jason Kincaid, and it was just like a no holds barred or something like that, or I don't know if Pentagon was there or whatever. So it's this gigantic fork, like these forks that you put up on your wall as a decoration. I'm sure you guys have seen them somewhere. Well, ACH signed the fork, and I still have it. And it's one of the coolest things I've ever gotten to wrestling. So when I heard ATM, I go, if I can figure out what the acronyms mean, all that matters, that's going to make even more sense for me. So I love it, bro. I think it's a very creative name. Surprised nobody's ever used it before, because ATM, that, money, all that matters. I think it's a great combination, very creative. And I think it fits, bro, because you with the glasses and everything you got going on. I like the stilo, my friend. I do. What about you, Eli? How did you come up with your persona? And maybe tell us about the tag team name as well.
Okay, so really the persona came from a mix of things. Before I was in wrestling, I was a poet and spoken word artist here in St. Louis. So I always went by Eli, or Eli Enigma, as a play on the word enigma, which also came from my love of being a Jeff Hardy fan as a kid. But I changed it over to Eli because really, actually, my older sister Aloha started calling me Eli, and it just stuck with me. So I've been Eli everywhere I go. And really, the Rossi part, believe it or not, came from WWE 2K when I made a creator wrestler, and I was trying to put me in the game, and I couldn't find a way to say like Enigma for the last name, so I just scrolled through the list, and Rossi was on there. So I was like, okay, let me hear how this sounds like as it's being announced, and they had the little automated voice say Eli Rossi, and I was like, okay, that fits. So I'll take it. Yeah. And then when going through the training process, and when you're coming up with your wrestler name, I was like, you know what, Eli Rossi's simple, so I just kept it. And that's how Eli Rossi came to be a thing.
And you before you go on to the tag team name, you know what yours made me think of? I just realized that this ended up being one of my favorite movies. I don't know if you guys are fans of Denzel, but Book of Eli.
Yep.
And dude,
I always get that comparison.
He's like, you touch me. He's like, you touch me again, you'll never have a hand again. And my man's like, yeah, and he cuts the hand off. I was like, dude. And then I seen your picture, my guy, and when you doing this thing, whatever, right? I was like, Eli fits so well, bro. And I'm always wondering about that, like you must rattle your brain for a while, like, man, who am I? What am I? What makes sense? And I think you guys have both hit it on the head. So now you got to tell me about the tag team name. I know we've heard of Best Friends, No New Friends, and now we got No Role Modelz. Break it down for me, Eli. How did that come about?
I actually got to turn that one over to Drew because he's the one that came up with the team name.
Okay.
I'll turn it back over to Drew on that one.
So during the inception of the team, we couldn't figure out a name that fit well with us. And so, I'm a big music guy. And so I was just listening to J. Cole. Like, as people might know if they see me wrestle as singles, J. Cole's ATM song is the song that I come out to. And so I was just, listening to J. Cole, and then the No Role Model song played. And I was like, well, No Role Models, that sounds fitting. It sounds catchy. But the thing with me is that I just didn't take the name. I made the name to where it would fit us, just not taking a name just to have one.
Right.
But with me and any name, I saw No Role Modelz, and I was like, you know what? Well,
gotta fit.
Personally, for me growing up, everyone has a role model, but role models let you down sometimes. And
that's why they say never meet your heroes, right? They always say that, never meet your heroes. Yeah.
And everyone wants to be their role models, but the thing with me and Eli, we don't. No role models. We're just us.
I like that. Now, I have to maybe take a leap of faith here and ask you guys a question. Because of the name, does that mean that when you come out, the fans aren't always necessarily on your side, right? Like you guys are looking to draw that heat from the crowd, at least in this moment, right? I'm guessing that the majority of places that you guys work, you're being booked as heels because of the name. Is that right?
we leave it up to perspective, you know. So
All right.
we really we let the fans decide. Like, if you want to cheer us, that's your business. If you want to boo us, that's your business too. At the same time, we in there to do a job and handle business, and as we always like to say, show up and show out. So, you know, you might see something that you like, you might not see something that you like, but.
All right, so for the record, y'all are not ripping posters and yelling at grandma on the front row?
I've done it once.
See, I knew it.
I had no knowledge of that. I was not around.
You were turned around when he did that. Okay.
Yeah, I must have. I think I might have been at the merch table or something.
That's right. He's putting it rolling back on ATM. Well, listen, guys, we're getting close to the end of the interview, but I want to bring my man John back on, my man Hardcore Hoss, for one more question or any comment that he might have, because I know I have at least one more. Hardcore Hoss, what do you got for our friends, No Role Modelz?
I know that one of your next upcoming events will be at Grave Consequences.
Yeah.
So if they're listening, what would you have to say to your opponents at Grave Consequences should they actually be listening right now?
Ooh.
Hi, man. Y'all listen.
Time to work.
Listen closely.
Let them know.
No Role Modelz does one thing, and one thing only. Everywhere we go, we show up and we show out.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this Friday isn't going to be any different. No Role Modelz is going to do exactly what we do best. Again, show up and show out. And we're going to take that W. Easiest part. 1, 2, 3.
Uno, dos, tres. What about you, Eli?
He literally beat me by 1 second. Only other thing I can say is you know, come ready for a fight. Come ready to leave it all in the ring, because that's the only way we roll. That's the only way No Role Modelz rolls. That's the only way Team Ambition rolls. We leave it all in the ring, and we do it all again the next morning.
Ooh, I love the energy, gentlemen. Now, I have to ask, going into my last couple of questions, you guys got the opportunity to spend some time with some legends not too long ago.
Yeah.
You got to hang out with Davey Richards. You got to hang out with Minoru Suzuki. I know you guys are workers. You don't fanboy out like we do. You don't name drop. But listen, this is what I do. This is what I get paid to do. So maybe step out of your wrestling boots for a second, if you can, and talk to me from just a fan's perspective, how awesome it is to be able to share a locker room with a Davey Richards and a Minoru Suzuki, which was a huge thing, not only for you guys and Team Ambition, but really for pro wrestling in St. Louis and in the Midwest in general. Two guys, very notable, very respected. How was it to be under the same umbrella of those guys for a night?
Oh, like, man, it was cool. You know what I'm saying? It's like to grow up and just watch these people, and then to actually share a locker room with them. It's like all the hard work that you've done to get to where you are really paid off, you know, because, you know, not only did we witness the, you know, Suzuki versus Richards, but we got the photo, you know, stuff like that maybe 10-year-old me would not imagine that I'm in a picture like this today.
Oh, man.
And so as a fan, to be a part of that, man, it's just so cool. So cool.
Yeah, I even made the post a few days later when I got the picture with Suzuki, that the 15-year-old me was losing his mind and flipping out seeing us in this picture with Suzuki. And it's just a surreal moment, just realizing like it could have been anybody, it could have been in any other place, any other promotion, territory, any of that. It happened in St. Louis, and Minoru Suzuki came and did a tour here in St. Louis, and we're literally getting the opportunity to train and sit under the umbrella of Davey Richards. And like we always say, it could have been anybody, could have been anybody, any place, anytime, but it was us. So it's happening for a reason. So
it is happening for a reason, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think this is the beginning of a long, healthy journey for both of you through professional wrestling. I've been around long enough now. I don't know if you guys can see in the background, this is episode 367 of the Wrestle Talk podcast. We have Punishment Martinez on the show. We've had $1 Million Man on the show. Anybody that you can think of, we've had on the Paul Orndorff, Tully Blanchard, Kevin Sullivan. The list goes on and on. And here's the most exciting thing of all. I think you guys are going to dig this. Most, if not all, the guys that come on the show eventually end up going to the big show. Josiah Williams did it. Josiah Williams did it as a musician. A guy that used to be known as Punishment Martinez. You might know him as Damian Priest now. He was with us, and he came on and did the thing, and now he's the United States champion for WWE. So I don't want to jinx you guys or anything, but the Wrestle Talk podcast is a progressive step towards the big stage. And from what I can tell, not only from seeing you guys work, but from your personalities, I think you guys are well on your way. Stay humble, keep working hard, and keep listening to the same people you're listening to, because you guys got a lot of smart people in your ear. And as long as you guys still stay healthy, I think there's nowhere to go but up. There's no question about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No doubt about it. Now, before we let you go, there's one last bit of business that we got to handle. Number one, welcome as the newest members of the Wrestle Talk family. Thank you. Number two, you got to tell us where you're going to be working next. I know we touched on it just a second ago, but where is No Role Modelz going to be competing next? Please drop it on us.
Okay, so we already talked about Grave Consequences this Friday in Arnold, Missouri. We also have another show coming up. I gotta cheat and use my notes. Forgive me.
Use your notes.
So October 24th, Sunday, we've got the Strange Donuts versus the Four Hands Brewery. The car picture. That is going to be down at South Broadway Athletic Club, another Dynamo show. Definitely, if you were in the St. Louis area, come out to either one of those shows. If you can make it over to Arnold, come out to Grave Consequences on Friday. If you're around in the south side near Soulard and everything, make it down to South Broadway and catch us down to Strange Donuts versus Four Hands Brewery. And we also got one more match.
We got a few. We're also defending the CCW Tag Team Championships October 30th in Cape Girardeau. We're making our debut at NGW in Tennessee.
Yep.
And then we got a surprise for y'all November 7th.
Yeah, we can't tell you about that one.
Can't tell y'all about it yet.
This is the place to do it. What are y'all talking about? This is the place.
It's confidential. But
come on. Well, I do have a legendary professional wrestler who would like to chime in on the fact that you're going to save it. Let's hear from the Iron Sheik. Well, there you go. All right. Well, guys, again, thank you for being here tonight. Mad kudos and props to you guys. You're mad humble, hardworking. You guys are working with the right people in the business. Stay healthy, stay strong. And I got a very special song that's going to play during break. So before you guys take off, make sure you check out what we're playing in honor of today being a national holiday. Okay, it is the first day of the NBA season, and it's all about the Heat and the Lakers. Okay, and if it wasn't because of you guys, I would have called in sick, and I'd be watching the Bucks in the Brooklyn right now. Okay, but I love you guys so much that I had to be here. So no role models on behalf of the Night Owl, Hardcore House, and the rest of the Wrestle Talk family and team. We thank you guys for being here. Nothing but love and respect, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and hit this break music. I'm sure we're going to get flagged YouTube. All them people are going to be pissed off, but we don't care, baby, because this is all about episode 367, Night Owl, Hardcore House, No Role Modelz, baby. Here it is, No Role Modelz. Hey!
With the third pick in the 2020.
Que pasa, que pasa, que pasa, ladies and gentlemen and loyal members of the Wrestle Talk family. We are back for hour number 2 of episode 367 of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And what a wonderful first hour of the show we had. Hardcore Hoss, go ahead and unmute yourself, bro. Give me your perspective on an incredible first hour of the Wrestle Talk podcast, man. How do you think we did?
Oh, I think we did wonderful. I think it was a great first hour, great interview. It was great to learn about those guys, just so much there to learn about, and look forward to learning even more about them in the future.
Well, there's no doubt about it that we have an interesting balance here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Obviously, we're always going to talk about current events, about everything that's happened in the world of professional wrestling. But when it comes to our interviews, we like to have a lot of variety. We like the new school. We like the old school and everything in between. And I think tonight's show is the epitome of what the Wrestle Talk podcast does, right? We hit on all the current topics. Then we brought in the young bloods. And now we have the privilege of talking to 2 veterans of the professional wrestling game, guys that have been wrestling since the early 90s, maybe even the late 80s. They're going to join us and share a little bit about their story with us and what they're up to these days. Are they still active? Are they going to be active again? Can they give us a couple of road stories, maybe their origin story? We're getting an opportunity to do that and a whole lot more as we welcome in, for the very first time here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Andy Allen, the Lumberjacks. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Always an honor and a pleasure to have gentlemen of your prestige here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I am the Night Owl. That is Hardcore Hoss. I'm in Kansas City. He's out in West Virginia. So you guys are being seen all over the country. Thank you for making time for us.
Hey, no problem. No problem.
Awesome.
All right. Well, let's get right into it. I don't know if you guys were tuning in to the first part of the show. We had a couple of young, talented professional wrestlers operating as a tag team as No Role Modelz. Right off the bat, in case those guys are still watching, you guys have been doing this for a long time. Any young tag team that's looking to get into the game today, what advice would you 2 veterans offer to a young tag team, couple of greenhorns making their way in the business today?
Don't give up on it. And you're always do what the booker tells you to do. And it's a 2-way street in the match. So make it look good on both sides and you'll have plenty of business.
And stay busy. Do tag team matches. Try to shy away from the singles. Get into the tag team end of it. It's an art.
So you guys are saying you got to fully commit and stick with it. And let me tell you why I think that's a very important point. These guys are a very young tag team, maybe working a year and a half, 2 years together. And the fans were already asking if either one of them would ever see themselves in a singles run. How hard is it to stay focused on the tag team when people on the outskirts are always wondering if one or the other is going to eventually go into a singles run? What are the challenges of trying to keep a tag team together, gentlemen?
For us, we're brothers, and that's why it was kind of easy for us to stay with it. But when you do it, everybody tries to push it towards individual matches, single matches, and that. But there's a skill and there's an art to tag teaming. And I think everybody should start with it because that's where you learn, is in the tag team matches.
Because if you're really serious and you want to do tag team wrestling, stick with it. Focus on it. Don't let nobody break you up, because tag team, it really is an artful way of doing it. I mean, look at years ago in the NWA, it's WCW, all that. Tag teaming was big. And it still can be big, but you've got to work hard at it, and you got to feel each other out, and you got to have a partner that's ready to commit with you at the shows.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I love, Alan, that you brought up the NWA. The NWA is back and in full effect. as you guys know, they just had a huge show in the St. Louis area a couple of weeks ago. As longtime old school fans, how exciting was it for you guys to see the NWA back in St. Louis for NWA 73?
I think it was great. I think it's probably to have back at the Chase where wrestling started, and I think it showcased the city and NWA on top of it all. And we have several friends with NWA, so I thought it was a very good. You couldn't beat it, man, for the price and the prestige. Back at the Chase in St. Louis, excellent.
Dude,
And right here in St. Louis, the Chase was the home of NWA.
It absolutely was. Big shout out to Herb Simmons, Larry Matisak, and all the wonderful legends that try to keep the memory of the Chase alive. I don't know if you guys have seen, there's a book that recently came out. We had the gentleman as a guest of ours just a couple of weeks ago, the author, and there's a tabletop book that recently came out that's everything wrestling at the Chase. It took a few years. John, maybe you can help me with Ed's last name, but yeah, that tabletop book that just came out was all about the NWA, the history of it, and a lot of that book from the previews that I've seen revolves around tag team wrestling, which was very prevalent in the NWA. And we're seeing it kind of come back to the surface again as something that's incredibly important for every promotion. Why do you guys think it's so important for every promotion to have a strong tag team division?
Because me myself, I think when you have a good, strong tag team and a division with teams in it, individual guys tagging together, you grow. And you got to have that foothold and that base.
I'm sorry, a little bit of an audio issue there, but you were saying that you have the growth with the tag teams that continue to develop under the same umbrella. I couldn't.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Because during a tag team match, you got four guys in there working their skill, working their craft, and they're learning from each other in there. And that's four guys working. And tag team wrestling is great. It's just a big roundabout learning thing, and it's great for promotions to have that. I want to see more promotions have tag team wrestling, and it's kind of a lost thing here in the Midwest now.
When you go see a show, everybody wants to say, "Who's your tag champs? When's the tag teams come out?" Everybody wants to see a tag team.
Now, are you guys of the belief, and I know when I've had an opportunity to book a couple of shows, I always felt like the tag match had three good spots. Right at the beginning of the show, right after intermission, or if you have it built up well enough as the main event, depending on where it is on the card. Where do you guys prefer to perform?
I like it after the intermission. I think it should rank up there with your, after intermission, then your junior lightweight and your heavyweight championship. But I like it after intermission myself.
Yeah, it should be right after intermission. There should be a build up for it because usually people are throwing their heavyweight main event match there, or their light heavyweight, right there at the end. But tag teaming should be right after intermission, and then you got those last two to fill everything in.
Dude, that's awesome. I completely agree. I think it's a great pick-me-up after intermission. Everyone's kind of gone to the restroom, gotten their food. We all need that pick-me-up to kind of get us re-engaged into the show, and I don't think anything does that better than tag team wrestling. Before I throw it over to my counterpart, Hardcore Hoss, I did have one other question, and it's about your guys' ability to be around for as long as you have been. If there is a secret to your success after being in this business active for close to 30 years, what would you say the primary factor is in longevity, which is what everybody's looking for in the sport?
In our case, we just ain't had no bad injuries. We got a ring in our own house, and we stayed limber, and our jobs outside the wrestling business makes us limber. So we just ain't really had no major injuries. So I think if you keep yourself in a decent shape and keep yourself loose, I think you can go for a long, long time.
I mean, yeah, they're staying injury free.
That's the big thing.
The big thing.
Yeah.
And getting in the ring and practicing your matches. Like we got a full gym and ring and building and everything. So that's been our help over the years.
Yeah. You can't beat that. Having a ring. It's one thing to work out, right, guys? But it's a whole nother thing to be inside the squared circle. And the more you can do that, probably the better you're going to be at your craft. Would you gentlemen agree with that?
Well, oh yeah, ring shape's totally different. You can be a marathon runner, but you when you're ring shape, that's a total different shape. You're right on. You're spot on.
That's a good point. Well, I'm going to throw it here to my partner in crime, Hardcore Hoss, chilling over there in the beautiful mountaineer state of West Virginia. Hardcore Hoss, what do you have for our boys, the Lumberjacks, here tonight?
Well, we kind of touched on a little bit that you don't see quite as much tag team wrestling as you used to. And I agree that, when you go to a show or even watching it on TV, when you see a tag team match, it's actually more exciting than watching a singles match a lot of times, just because of the cohesion that has to go on between everybody. So why do you think it is that tag team wrestling has seemed to fallen off to where it is now?
Good question.
I think probably because I hate to say it, probably television and the storylines, and they probably make a lot more storylines for individual single matches than tag matches. But I remember back in the days, when we were growing up, you had the Fabulous Freebirds and the Road Warriors. We couldn't wait until they came on the show to watch. So I think it's just the storylines are making towards it.
Yeah, the storylines and the angles, they're making it more interesting to watch the single wrestlers than they are the tag. So I mean, it's back in the day, it was great. Tag team wrestling was huge. You had 6 men, you had regular tag match. Now it's basically all singles, really.
Yeah, like I say, it really takes a cohesion between everybody involved to really make a tag team match work. Because you can't be on one page and your partner be on another. It just wouldn't work. So I find it more interesting.
Yeah, I would think if everybody's getting into the business and you're starting out, everybody ought to do a tag because there is so much involved with it. Like you said, the communication, getting everything worked out, and you might be tagging with a guy you never tagged with before. So it's a whole nother thing, and it's a learning process, and it's a good way to start because you've seen almost everybody start in a tag team and broke off into singles.
It's a big tag team wrestling is communication more than most of the other matches going on. You got 2 people that communicate together and make that match work.
Yeah, I would think, that you really need to know your tag partner to make everything work well. These tag teams that just get thrown together, here, good tag with this guy tonight. They can sometimes work out, but I can see where a lot of times if that cohesion isn't there, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You see it all the time.
Go ahead.
You can tell. You can tell when they just throw somebody together with each other. You can sit out in the audience and see that this is just something they throw together.
And a tag team, they gotta look alike. They gotta work alike. They gotta have the same rhythm, the same style, to where they're together. Most guys, like you said, they slap them together for a night, and it's just all wishy-washy, and they don't even know what's going on. The people lose interest in it. But when you see 2 guys that are working the same, looking the same, and they're going at it, keeps the interest going, and it gets your name out there. Hey, you guys are designated as a tag team.
Well, and I'll jump in here between questions and say this. I think the thing that bothers me the most is that tag teams have been used as a way to tuck away main event talent. For example, Robert Roode, What'd they do? They stuck him with Dolph Ziggler. Rhea Ripley, they kind of stuck her and Nikki ASH together for those that are following WWE. I think it's disheartening to disrespect the tag team division when you've got legitimate tag teams that work together all the time by sticking together a couple of main eventers because there's no room for them at the top. And I think there's no more evidence than that than what we're seeing with some of the major products where they're taking top stars, people that would potentially be on the main event, but there's not enough room, so they just throw them together. And here's the best part of it, Hardcore Hoss, they give them the tag team championships, which is what we're seeing in certain promotions. Like, guys, we all know you're sticking these people together because you have no room for them at the top, but in order to try to deceive the fan base, you give them a title belt, and you want us to believe that they're a legitimate tag team. Hardcore Hoss, I'm just not buying it, and I think it's disrespectful.
I agree 100%. It's disrespectful to your legitimate tag teams that work day in and day out to just hand somebody the championship and say, well, here, take this and run with it for a while. See what you can do when they're not a tag team.
That happens a lot.
Indeed. What do you Lumberjacks think about that? Is it a little frustrating from your perspective?
A little bit, but you talk about Rude. Rude's one of mine, and I watched Raw last night, and they had
right
with him. I think he's a man that I think we're just putting him put him in a spot,
giving him they're using him, keeping him working by throwing him in there when he should be way up the food chain.
Robert Roode is the best example that I can think of. There's not enough room for him at the top. You stick him in a tag team, and he's been stuck there for 2 years now. 2 years.
No, you're exactly right. I was thinking about that last night watching it. I go, why is this guy still doing this?
He's a guy that, like I said, he should be on top of the food chain, and he should be getting a push, a big push.
Maybe it's an age thing. And that leads me to my next question. John, sorry for jumping in here.
No,
have you guys felt or seen the industry shift away from some of the older talent? Have you guys felt any of that? Like maybe, and I'm not expecting you to call anybody out, but have you guys maybe felt that like maybe a little bit of that age discrimination from a booking standpoint? Because I think we're seeing that on the majors. I'm not so sure if we're seeing the same thing in independents. Can you guys speak to that if you've experienced it?
I think you're exactly right. You see it on the majors, but from us being out here on the independent circuit, it seems like the veterans are kind of coming back, and it's like the veterans are the guaranteed to put butts in the seats and to help the shows out. So I think it's kind of in the majors, it's that the other way, and in the independents out here, I think it's kind of you got some veterans on the card that kind of stables everything up.
And I will say, if we need any more evidence to prove that the veterans are outstanding, is look at Trevor Murdoch, who I know both of you guys are familiar with. He's the freaking NWA champion, Holland. That's something that's got to make you proud.
Yeah, actually, Trevor, he was around when when he first started. Yeah, I'm proud of him. He's doing great, man.
He came so far. He did just really good. Look at his achievements, great.
Okay, guys, it looks like we may be having a little bit of a connection issue with the Lumberjacks there. We're going to give them about 10 seconds to see if we can get their connection restored. But, John, I got to ask you that same question. You saw Trevor Murdoch win the NWA championship from Nick Aldis. I still continue to believe that as long as it's not on a part-time basis, as long as the guy – that's my one rule. I don't really care how old you are as long as you can work. CM Punk, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg – you can go down the list. As long as they're working regularly, I think you can put a belt on an older champion as long as they're able to keep up with the schedule like we're seeing with Trevor Murdoch. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Oh, I agree. If you can work regular, there's no reason you can't hold a belt. But, when you get people like Goldberg a belt, and then he keeps it for a couple months and then drops it, and then you don't see him for a year.
Yeah.
Or even Brock Lesnar, they hand him a belt, and you only see him at pay-per-views. Other than that,
pay-per-view, not even every pay-per-view.
Those people don't need to hold belts.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah,
you're right on that.
If you can work regular, then I have no problem hanging a belt on you, no matter what age they are. I think it's great.
Absolutely.
Is the communication back, guys?
Oh, you guys are great now.
Yeah.
We finally got you off the dial. We got you some high-speed internet now. Way to
go,
go, gentlemen.
All right.
That's John. Did you have any more questions for these gentlemen? I know I got a couple of more.
Well, last question I have here is, and doing my research and everything, I came across a lot of people have different types of merchandise and stuff. And I came across that you guys actually have your own coloring book. Whose idea was that, and how did it come about?
Awesome.
That was my brother. That was my brother Andy on that one.
We got so many kids that flock us at shows, and I seen it online, and I go, you know what? The kids would like this. It's the holiday season, and the kids flock us, and their parents flock us when we do shows, and I just thought it'd be something good, something different.
And they're selling, and then the parents love it because it gives them kids something to take home and color, and it's got learning stuff in it too, mazes and word puzzles and all that. So it works out. It seems like it's selling.
I just haven't seen any of them at shows, and then I seen it. I go, you know what? Let's try that out.
I don't think I've ever heard of anyone having coloring books. I've seen some creative stuff, but that's definitely a first. Way to go, guys. Keep it original. That's awesome.
Hey, man, we love people in West Virginia.
Shout out to God's country, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
We got a friend that lives out in West Virginia.
Yeah.
In the business or no?
No, he just he was a good friend of ours and moved away, and he's lived the past 30 years in West Virginia.
Yeah, he loves it.
Hey, best moonshine in the country, gentlemen.
There you go, man.
He does. He puts up Dish Network. He's a Dish Network guy.
He's a dish guy. Yeah, well, up in the mountains, I'm sure a lot of people need dish. You guys got some good shine up that way, right, Hoss?
Oh, always.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hoss has probably got some there with him, and he just ain't tell us about it.
Well, no, the thing is, he's got it in one of those water cooler things.
Ah.
We go to work and we go to the water cooler. He's got friggin' apple pie moonshine in one of those 5-gallon jugs. He just fills it up.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That sounds like a perfect work spot right there.
Hell yeah, it does.
Don't tell everybody now, Night Owl.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
I gotta share with the family. These guys look like they would enjoy a couple of snippets of some moonshine. That's
yeah. We drink on occasion whenever we feel like it.
Hell yeah.
Actually, I got a jar. There's a guy at my work that home makes his own whiskey. He's got the still, he's got everything, and he made me a jar for this Halloween party we're going to.
Ooh. Maybe we can exchange addresses after the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
I might do that.
I'll tease it. Okay, so next question. You guys have been on the road. Is it fair to say 30 years, or am I aging you guys by saying 30 years? Is 30 years appropriate?
No,
We started training in 1987, and then we bursted onto the scene a year later in 88. And we just been going on since then.
So 30 years is fair, right? Am I missing?
Yeah.
Okay, so in 30 years, I'm sure you guys have got something from a road trip, or maybe getting to work with somebody that you idolized growing up. A couple of road stories, maybe some of the guys you've had an opportunity to work with. Like, take us down memory lane, because after 30 years, I'm sure you guys have got to have some pretty awesome stories. They can be funny, heartfelt, whatever's on your heart. Share it with us tonight if you don't mind.
Well, we were doing Galaxy Championship Wrestling with Luke Graham Jr. And we were doing shows. He brought Coco Beware in. He brought the original Moondogs in, and Prince Iakea and some of them other guys. And we worked the Moondogs. And tell you what, that was a good match, hell of a match, because they went old school on us like they did in the 80s.
Wow, so you guys got to
And,
work with true legends of the sport, it sounds like. What else? Go ahead, guys.
Yeah. And they took it. They wanted to use trash cans in there, and he goes, "Just don't worry about it. We'll hit you where we need to hit you at." And they bent them all over our backs and threw dust in our face and blinded us. And then we come backstage, and we're all black and blue. Oh, that was excellent, guys. You did an excellent job out there.
there you go. That's the way we did it. That's the way we did it in the old days, guys.
So wrestling is the only sport where you can physically get your ass whooped and go to the back and like, yeah, great job, everybody. That's excellent. Excellent work.
Yeah, you go backstage and you drink a beer.
That's good.
And we had a funny story. We told the same one on another podcast, but they got us a hotel to stay in.
All right.
And we were driving there. We go, okay, there's the hotel, pull in. And we were in Rose City, Arkansas. And we got there and pulled in. There was police tape all over the door, and then a tape figure of where the body was laying on the ground.
They didn't even pull the tape up off the hotel room where the guy was just killed at. And we go, we ain't staying here, man.
So we called the promoter up. We go, hey, we're staying somewhere else, man.
You pay the difference. It's like you guys walked in on the scene of First 48.
Yeah.
It had to be like it had to be the night before we pulled in. It was still there.
I know they didn't think we were CSI or anybody like that.
I go, this ain't cool. By the time we drive back from a show at 1 a.m. and try to sleep in the hotel room, the next room over, there was a crime.
Yeah, no thanks. We're going somewhere else. That's outstanding, guys. And you know what's funny? In the moment, you're kind of pissed off, but when you go back and tell the story, it's freaking gold. It really is.
Yeah, you're right.
Which, have you guys ever thought about putting all this together or having someone help you put your story together in like a documentary or maybe even a book after 30 years of doing this? You guys ever consider doing something like that?
The idea is out there. I had the idea a few years ago, and it's just kind of sitting down and getting it done,
It's a lot of work, but we know some people, John Cosper, Ed Wheatley, who I finally remember Ed's last name, Hardcore Hoss from the Wrestling at the Chase book. So if you guys need to talk to some people that are experts in that department, let us know. Because after 30 years, you guys have got to have some incredible stories. I'm curious, anybody else that you guys have had a chance to face in the ring throughout your 30-year career that you're particularly proud of?
Man,
maybe
that was
maybe your favorite rival
we
or
did
opponent.
We did a match up there with the Harrises up in Chicago, and then we did a lot of indie work, with a lot of different indie guys.
I really can't off the top of my head, really can't think of one, but I mean, we enjoy everyone we do, and like we always say, you get a chance to get out there, you buy the tickets, go watch these guys, because we're all out there beating our butts trying to make it work and try to put on the best show we can. And I say support your wrestling in your state and enjoy, because it's a good thing to go see.
But we just had a lot of different number of guys over the years.
Now, I'm curious to know, how do you guys deal with tag teams that have a different style from you? Say you've got some tag teams that are a little bit more brawler-based, ground-based. You've got the high flyers. How do you guys adjust what you do to keep up with the tag teams that maybe have a little bit more of an athletic style? I'm curious to know how you guys adjust.
Get them in the ring and you slow them down a little bit.
Slow them down.
Just like a lot of the old timers did.
You put a size 14 against their heads, they'll slow down.
Grab them in a headlock, stretch the arms out, hit them with a suplex, couple clotheslines. It slows them down.
Yeah.
Target a body spot, maybe a knee, an ankle, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome to know that you guys have the versatility to be able to face all kinds of tag teams, but also that you stick to your game plan regardless of who you're facing. I think that's something admirable, and you're staying true to yourselves. I mean, you're the Lumberjacks, for God's sakes. Nobody's asking you to come off the top rope. You just stay true to yourselves, which leads me to go ahead. There's
no Hurricanranas or Moontalks or anything. We just old school beatdown.
You make it look like a fight the way it should be.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, this leads me to my second to last question. The name
Okay.
Lumberjacks, okay? Where did it originate? Are you guys actually lumberjacks? Are you guys woodsmen? I like the leather vest and the hatchets that I seen you guys carrying. Who came up with the idea, and why did you guys decide to roll with that?
We came up with, hashed around different ideas, but we were Bushwhacker fans. We were the LeDukes, guys like that. We really like that old school stuff.
We're country kids. We're country guys.
Hillbilly.
We were out here. We cut wood. We put fences up. We mess with cattle. We got 4-wheel drives. We go hunting. So we're just country. We're country boys.
So and then we sat around, you know what? There hasn't been lumberjacks around for years and years and years. So we went with it. And it seemed to work out for us.
All right, you guys fishermen by chance? I got to ask you
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Okay, this is totally off the beaten path, but I got to know because I'm a young fisherman. I'm fishing 6 to 8 foot deep lakes here in the great state of Kansas. What kind of lures you guys recommending? Should I just put an old-fashioned worm on the end? Do I go with these fancy ones that they sell at Cabela's?
What are you fishing for?
Crappie, smallmouth bass, the simple stuff. Nothing.
Oh, I would use some minnows, man, and just some little jigs.
Well, we got a friend now that started a fishing tackle company. It's called HD Tackle. If you go on their website, he's
information, please. Send it to us.
Bass Pro Shop just picked all of his merchandise up, and his lures do excellent.
He's been guys been buying him and winning bass tournaments and everything. He's on doing his lures videos.
Yeah.
You guys got to send me his information because I want to get better, and
I've been
over in Missouri a few times.
He came up with the idea for it, got it patented, and it took off like storm for him.
Man, next thing you know, he's going to be like the duck call guys, right? He's going to be big time.
Duck Dynasty, yeah.
He's trying. He's trying, and I can see it happening.
Yeah, by the way, Phil
it just takes that right thing.
Yeah, Phil's one of my personal heroes, just so you guys know. I may not look it. I'm in a basketball jersey wearing a ball cap. But yeah.
See, I'm getting ready to go trout fishing again, so.
Yeah, what I need is
I like the whole trout fishing.
Trout fishing. I did that in Colorado. It was incredible. Absolutely. It says, hey, use some crankbait. I'm getting fishing
in Montauk here.
Yeah?
Montauk and Merrimack Springs here in Missouri.
Man, I got to make my way over. I worked Smithville Lake up in northwest Missouri. I got to make my way a little bit further east. So, John, we're getting close to that time. Do you have any final questions? Because I could talk fishing and hunting with these guys all night long, and I know we're supposed to be talking wrestling. So, what do you got for my guys, man?
I think any of the other questions I had, you've actually taken, which is perfectly okay. As long as we get the answers, that's all that matters. And so I think I'm pretty much out of questions, but I really am enjoying talking with these guys, and it's been a pleasure so far. And
I'll tell you what, guys, we got a show in a couple weeks here in Cuba, Missouri, November 6th, and we're taking on the Texas Outlaws. You got two great big cowboys going to take on the Lumberjacks, and then in the Knights of Columbus Hall in Cuba, Missouri. And with ACW's been great.
Hey, hold on. That's not hosted by Ricky Ricardo, is it? He's not. Okay.
No. Actually,
I know there's a Mexico, Missouri too.
Back.
Dude, I'll tell you what, you guys beat me to the punch because that's what I was going to ask you when you guys are going to be in action next. Now, besides ACW, I know you guys have traveled a little bit in your careers. What are the promotions that you're frequenting the most here recently?
Probably ACW right now. We're kind of just picking and choosing what we really want to do right now.
We may go over probably per year Illinois, run by Herb Simmons.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we've got a little bit of breaking news. So you're telling me that you guys might be going over to SICW? Is that what I just heard you say?
Something over there later on down the line, but we're because they've been really good to us, and the 300 plus to 500 doing stuff right.
Okay, unfortunately, it looks like we lost Andy and Alan there for a second. We're going to give them another 10 to see if we can get their connection back steady. It happens, guys. Don't feel bad. This is live internet-based radio. It's not to be unexpected. But John, listen, I'm sorry for stealing your questions, bro. These are some great guests. And how cool is it? We had a couple of young bucks on earlier. Now we got some vets, man. And what's incredible to me, and here's where I see the correlation. They obviously you got a couple of country guys, you got a couple of city boys. You know, the big difference between them. But the passion, John, it's there from both tag teams, and that's what I love. And I think that's something that we can all hang on to, right? Like if you're passionate about it and you're willing to stick with it, like Andy and Alan were talking about, I think you can be successful at just about anything, including professional wrestling and tag team wrestling at that. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I agree with that. You know, and one thing with both of these tag teams is, like we were talking earlier, you can tell they belong together, you know. And don't get me wrong, I like them, but they're not RK Bro, you know. Those two, you wouldn't think they belong together at all. They're total opposites.
Right.
But you know, this tag team, the Lumberjacks, and the tag team we had earlier, you know, both of them, you can tell they are good tag teams together.
Chemistry is everything.
Yeah, they're very cohesive. So
yeah,
no doubt about it. It looks like we have you guys back. We restored the connection. That's good stuff. Let's go backwards a little bit. We were talking about ACW, and then you guys potentially making an appearance somewhere else. You mind going over that with us again, Andy?
Yeah, we plan on branching out over there and doing a couple things once a while, but mainly our mainstay is ACW because they've been so good to us. And they're really putting on good shows. When, like I said, when you're having 500 plus fans at a show, almost every show consecutive, they're doing great. I mean, it's a fun organization, and they're really bringing a lot of different talent, especially in the tag team division. They have several tag teams.
Well, you guys are going to have to do us a favor and plug us in with the owner over there. We definitely love to have him on. We cover all the teams in the region. Why we haven't had somebody from ACW on before, it surprises me, John. We gotta get on that, but I'm sure the Lumberjacks here could help us out with that. I also heard you say, Andy, something about Herb Simmons, and we lost you there. So can you repeat that?
Herb has always talked to us, and we plan on later down the line, maybe next year sometime, going over and doing a couple for Herb. Always good over the years, but our main focus is ACW right now.
Well, that's what we love to hear, and I can already tell you just from the feedback that we've gotten here from Dan, Patricia, Angie, Sonny, Aaron, Assad. I mean, the list goes on and on. Susie, all the people that have tuned into the show today have been really excited about hearing what you guys bring to the table. I guess my final and most important question is this, gentlemen, after 30 years, have you decided when you're going to hang up the old boots, or are you just going to let your body tell you that? I'm curious.
I think we'll just let the whole body tell us.
Yep. I think that's the best idea right there, is let the body tell us.
When you start having aches and pains after doing a fifth of whiskey, it's time to hang it up.
Oh, Grandpa's old cough medicine. Well, I'll tell you what, from my perspective, you guys should stay in the game as long as your body lets you, man. As long as God keeps picking them up, You guys keep chopping them on down. That's why you're the Lumberjacks. And that's why you guys are officially the newest members of the Wrestle Talk family. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. It's truly an honor.
No, man, thank you. We appreciate it. And keep us out there.
You guys got a great show, really great show. And I'm glad you guys are out there to help the wrestlers out there get heard and seen.
Well, we are here to serve, gentlemen, just the way that you guys are. And all I can say is that our buddy Dave Ruby, Rough Cut Rick Ruby, says hello. He sends his regards and his respect to you guys. And just know that there's a lot of other people in the pro wrestling community in this area and beyond, even out in West Virginia, that are cheering for the Lumberjacks to continue chopping them down. Andy, Allen, thank you guys once again very much for being here. You guys have a great night.
One more quick merchandise question. We're coming out in the next couple weeks, Lumberjack Slam Jam Jelly.
Slam Jam Jelly?
It will be sold at our merchandise. There's a lady that does canned goods out by us. She's been doing it for years, and she's making a jelly designed. All
right, well, we'll definitely be on the lookout for jelly. And me and Hoss are sold because really at some point every single show, we always end up talking about food. So Lumberjacks, thank you for helping us hit our quota.
Okay, man. Thank you.
All right, guys.
We may actually have to hit you up and see if we can order a jar of jelly offline.
That's right. And I got a couple little bits. So that coloring book sounds good to me. Send us the info on your boy with the fishing lures and also the information so that we can check out some of the jelly. How's that sound?
I'll actually put that fishing lure stuff on my timeline, and then you can go check it out actually to his site.
You got it, Andy, man. Thank you so very much. Appreciate you guys again. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the veterans of the game for ACW and really Midwest Wrestling, the Lumberjacks. Bravo, gentlemen.
Chop them down.
Out they go.
Chalk them down.
Thank you, guys.
Boom. How do you like that? Hardcore Hoss. The Lumberjacks, no role models. We're talking about J. Cole in one interview. We're talking about fishing in another. America, damn it. That's all I can say. I love this country. We can talk about it's like two different shows in one, bro. It was absolutely fantastic. I absolutely loved it, and I cannot wait to do it again next week with you, man, for episode 368. What'd you think about tonight, John? I'm sure you enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. And, it was absolutely perfect because, there's one episode that you absolutely fit in perfectly, and then another one where myself, the country boy, fit in absolutely perfectly. It works out good.
Well, here's what you don't know. I live in both worlds. So here's how it goes. During the day, I go to Cabela's, right? Then I go fishing. And then at night, I'm all about hip hop. So that's the beauty of being able to be an American. That's why we do the flags and the Carl Lewis. You guys may think it's a little silly, it's a little corny, but it's the privilege that we have to love what we love and not be defined by it. And before we go tonight, there is one image that I would like to share with everybody because somebody in the chat brought it up. We didn't get a chance to talk about it. And I believe it was our boy Sonny Money who said, "Who cares about the ratings? We just love wrestling," or something along those lines. And I think I know where he got it from because just yesterday, Hardcore Hoss, we put up a picture on our social media. And I want to share it with everybody here on the Wrestle Talk podcast because I think that it really exemplifies how we feel here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And here it is. If you're not already following us on our social media platforms, just at Wrestle Talk Cast, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, it's at Wrestle Talk Cast. Of course, everything available to you guys, including links to our YouTube channel and our blog talk streams at WrestleTalkPodcast.com. But I think this summarizes what this show is. We don't care about ratings. We don't care about politics. We don't care about race. We just love professional wrestling, and we're going to enjoy it no matter how much people want to cry and complain about it, John. This picture, I think, exemplifies exactly how we feel, not just about ratings, but around all the nonsense, the cesspool that is professional wrestling in this country. We just want good wrestling, damn it. Hopefully that picture speaks to you the way that it speaks to me. John, what are your thoughts on it in your own words?
I couldn't agree with the picture more. Who cares, what ratings AEW is getting versus WWE or, MLW. Who cares? It's wrestling. Just watch it. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. But overall, for the wrestling fans, it's wrestling, and the more wrestling we can get, the more we love it. So, who cares how many people are watching one versus another?
Well, I could not agree more. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached to the conclusion of tonight's episode of the Wrestle Talk podcast. Again, a huge thanks to all the listeners and the fans, everybody who shared. I didn't really have anybody join us to give away the Honky Talk Man or the Wrestle Talk podcast mug. Hopefully we'll get a new caller, a new listener that wants to actually join us during high spots. And you get an opportunity to either walk away with a Honky Talk Man action figure or your very own Wrestle Talk podcast mug. With that said, guys, much thanks and much appreciation to, again, No Role Modelz The Lumberjacks, all the members of the Wrestle Talk family, to you, to Luke Roberts, who helped make today's episode possible, to Nightmare Jones for helping us keep the website updated. John, thank you as well for working your ass off and being here every single week to help me hold it down here on the WTP, brothers. Much love and much respect to you as well.
Well, I appreciate it. And of course, we all want to thank you. Without you being here, this show would not be what it is today. And, between you and the fans, it just makes this show awesome. So we want to thank you for everything you do as well, sir. And, I look forward to next week when we get to talk to Chad about WrestleFest 3 and a wrap up on WrestleFest 2.
We didn't even talk about that. We didn't even talk about all the people that you got to meet. You guys got to tune into next week. John probably is not going to shower for the rest of his life with the people that he got to hug and take pictures with at Celeb Fest 2, bro. Just don't give it away. We'll save it for next week. But, man, did we get an opportunity to be a part of something special. And I do believe we promised some breaking news, John. So do me a favor, hit that breaking news and drop the news on us about Celeb Fest 3. Go ahead, brother.
All right. Well, they have already set a date for Celeb Fest 3. The date will be, sorry, I didn't have that pulled up here, but the date will be in February. They have started naming some talent. Lex Luger will be there. Camille will be there.
Razor Ramon
will be there. And, so I'm already getting excited. The Wrestle Talk podcast is already talking about being there. Hopefully you might be able to join us this time, Night Owl. Who knows?
Maybe if I don't go to Royal Rumble in St. Louis in January, I'm going to try to be in Baltimore in February, which, by the way, going to Baltimore in February, I don't even know what I'm thinking because that's like the worst weather of the year. But I don't care. If it's for Celeb Fest and our boy Chad Clark, you can count on me. Before we go, last thing, this upcoming Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, your boy will be at Haunted Havoc in Salina at the Salina Fieldhouse for Extreme or for XWE. A 15-foot steel cage match is taking place for the main event. Kit Reaver versus Drake Gallows. One of the things on my bucket list will officially be scratched off. I will get an opportunity to call a match in a steel cage. Also, the Knockout Kings are defending against the Rebel Hearts. Leo D going head-to-head against Calvin Aldridge. I think the American Way is basically falling apart right now, as a result of Aaron Helms deciding to become a good guy all of a sudden. But anyway, more information available to you guys over at XWE. Yes, my man, the one and only Sonny Money Mayo will be ring announcing. Well. And with that said, we leave you with the original track off the new album, The Hottest in Time and Space. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Vinsanity with Heaven's Demons. We will catch you guys next week.
Yeah. Listen. You can shoot all your shots and we still won't come down. We some wolves, we some rods, yeah, they call us out. By all means, we some kings and our table is round. Wanna float to the top, there's a chance we might drown. When the dark touch the ground, we come round. When the dark touch the ground, we come round. When the dark touch the ground, we come round. When the dark touch the ground. Everybody knows that I'm the baddest right now. Everybody knows that I would never back down. Everybody knows that there really is no crown. Even if there was one, they need to sit the fuck down. They need to sit the fuck down. You clowns who really got the crown right now. Sit the fuck down. You clowns. Yes, sir. You can shoot all your shots and we still won't come down. We some wolves, we some rods, yeah, they call us out. By all means, we some kings and our table is round. Wanna float to the top, there's a chance we might drown. When the dark touch the ground, we come round. When the dark touch the ground, we come round. When the dark touch the ground, we come round. When the dark touch the ground. You might think we some guys, but we really just men. We don't walk on the water, we still gotta swim. I just keep it 1,000 while they play pretend. I just keep it 1,000 down. It goes so hard that they gotta give props. Team full of stars, now they connecting dots. Not a heartbreaker, I just make hearts drop. And I think that they hate me cause I'm unorthodox. Not in your face, but I'm all in thoughts. Live how I want while you live in a box. Used to bust knocks, now I just get knocks. Even though I'm cold-blooded, I'ma always be hot. You can shoot all your shots and we still won't come down. We some wolves, we some rods, yeah, they call us out. By all means, we some kings and our table is round. Wanna float to the top, there's a chance we might drown. When the dark touch the ground, we come round. When the dark touch the ground, we come round. When the dark touch the ground.